context, we are hosting this podcast with collaboration in collaboration with Hydrogen Europe. We are meeting with very interesting individuals in the industry and trying to understand a little bit more about their career and their own perspective and how did they end up with us today. You, Alina, as the CTO, and Raanan as the CEO of the business. So if you could, Alina, give us a little introduction and tell us more about your career to date.
Thank you, Marika. Thank you for asking us to join this podcast. So my name is Alina, and I finished my PhD studies 7 years ago in material science and engineering in the Technion that sits at the north of Israel. Then I started to work in a company of fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells and electrolyzers, working on the development of electrodes and building test stations in order to develop this technology. And 4 months ago, I joined this great team of Carbonade as a CTO. So this is my story.
I remember we met, I think that was the second day when you were with the business, very excited, a little bit stressed yet, but yeah, I'm sure it's been very exciting 4 months coming into today. And how about you, Raanan? Tell us a little bit more about your career and how did you end up with us today?
Yeah, once again, thanks for having us. Kind of saying I started in the wrong side of climate. Turned 18, I joined the Israeli Air Force and spent 25 years sitting in the cockpit of an F-16, serving and protecting my country. And on that, burned, unfortunately, a huge amount of fossils on the way. When that is done, I switched into business, did some management role, both at corporates and startups. And about 3 or 4 years ago, during COVID, I, like everybody else, paused a bit, think about what I'm going to do with my life, and decided to switch into climate. And then was Carbonade born. I mean, as a spin-off from the Weizmann Institute of Science, one of the university in Israel. And what we do, we'll talk about it later.
Well, you've got a lot of bad fuel to make up for if you're the pilot, really,
yes. It's a
back in the army.
It's a kind of a compensation period for me.
I didn't know that, but yeah, it's definitely a nice way to put it. You just have to work hard to eliminate what the damage that was made, and then we can work on the good side. Well, thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, Alina, why did you decide to work in the sector from the very beginning? What was the drive? What was the idea behind?
I think since I was little, I care about the nature and I care about this planet. I remember myself angry with people that throwing garbage and cigarettes on the floor, care about cutting trees. And I love the nature so much, and I really want that our children will enjoy the nature as we are enjoying it now and keep this planet. So this drives me to come each day to work and seeing that we can help this planet and take this forward, and seeing that our children and their children will actually enjoy it as we are. So this was my enthusiasm going into this topics of climate.
Yeah, very simple yet huge, because this is the sort of idea that we can get from a very early age, even walking as a child or teenager down the street and seeing people creating mess where there doesn't have to be any mess. And as you said, I mean, we probably have a small part of this planet comparing to what our grandparents used to have in terms of the quality and the clean air. And our children and grandchildren will have even less. So yeah, it's definitely beautiful mission behind. What challenges would you say you personally have faced so far coming into today, trying to build your career and focusing on technology aspects that, let's be honest, many years back, perhaps overtaken by masculinity?
So actually, this is a great question, but besides the technological aspect of that, I would like also to face the challenges that we woman has in this area. So as you know, most of the women are still responsible for the kids and the family, but we are now changing and the world is changing. And I think this is also the time for us to understand that the responsibility of home needs to be on both partners, man and woman in the family, so women can also progress and develop their careers. It's important from my side to see, how many CEOs and CTOs women do you know?
Well,
Less than 50% for
one
sure.
more.
One
Yes.
more, yes. So it's a pity because we're more than 50% of this population. And I think that there's not enough women in the leading positions. And I think we need to teach our girls to be less perfect and more daring and be more brave, because it's important from my point of view to seeing this diversity in companies. Now we know that gender diversity in a company, it's a huge advantage. You have a lot of creativity, you have a lot of different aspects, because women come with different elements and different aspects. So this diversity gives a lot to a company, and I think those companies has more success and more happy companies than other companies. So this is my point that I wanted to point out, and I hope that in the next podcast we will see more women also in your podcast and all other influencing and impacting duties.
You couldn't put it and word it better. And I just want to notice that this little answer is the most energetic and passionate and fired up that I've seen you. So I can it's
Yeah.
coming from the heart, definitely. And you mentioned that it's not only about being fair, that this is 50% of the population, so we also deserve to focus on our career, but there is another aspect of it. Even if we're focusing on making the company and the industry the best it can be, if there is Alina somewhere out there with this amazing idea and very unique output and outlook, and nobody else has this idea, if we would miss on this, business opportunity and technology only because Alina is meant to sit at home and stay with children, yeah, we would have missed. So yes, definitely agree. We are actually, one of the previous podcasts that we've had was focusing mostly on inclusivity and trying to bring women into engineering and trying to highlight every single woman who is, within the C-suite, whether it's a CEO or CTO or anybody with a mission similar to yours. So yes, definitely great to have you on, and fantastic answer. So just to keep it a little bit fair, if we're speaking 50-50, I'm going to give a question to Raanan right now.
No, from my
we already have
perspective,
2-1, so you're outnumbered.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what is your biggest achievement until now, whether it's in your professional career many years back from when you were flying for the army, or something related to the business? What are you the most proud of?
Wow, for personal perspective, I didn't wait for that. I thought we're talking about the company. I think I'm most proud, and that will related to the previous answer, is that I managed to bring the right persons into the right position with the right responsibility, enabling an atmosphere which encourage innovation, thinking out of the box, doesn't feel fear to take action and to make mistake. We encourage people not to make mistake, but to learn out of the mistakes and not, to cover them. In some companies, you make mistake, you put it in the box and cover it. And I think I'm most proud of the atmosphere which is nowadays available today in Carbonade, which enable us to bring the most of the technology and to cross the high barriers, because we are looking for a very, very complicated task to solve one of the pressing and most complicated problems nowadays. And I think just out of innovation and we working with collaboration and accepting other approaches, we can work it out. That's what I'm so proud about.
Yes, you seem to be. You can see the smile on your face. Well, And you should be. I actually met with one of your amazing team with Alina before I was meeting with you. So it's great. It's great to know that you let people be themselves, that you encourage. You said not making mistakes, but learning from mistakes. But there is no learning if you're not making them, and there is definitely not learning if you're going to sweep it under the carpet. So I think this openness within your team definitely helps to focus on innovation, not hiding the problems really. I have a question that I want to ask to both of you, really, retrospectively. If you could go back in time and speak to young Alina, just starting her career, what advice would you give yourself?
Raanan?
Oh, okay. First of all, is to go and take action as soon as possible. Don't wait. Don't wait. You know, people sometimes talk to me and said, look, climate is such a huge problem. How can we, a single person, do something about it? And I said, no, it's all about a single person. It's all about taking action, because one brings another one, inspire another one, influence another one. And then with that, we create a momentum. We create something which is bigger than the single person. So my advice is, don't hesitate, don't fear, because this is such a huge problem. And how can we cope with that? Just dive into the pool, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Be yourself. Do something which you care about, and as fast as you can. And second advice maybe is related to, once again, we talked about, but I think is related to the people that you're working with. You want to feel comfortable with the place that you're sitting. You want to be appreciated and contributing to where we stand, and picking the right people or the right company is one of the biggest tips I can give you. Companies that does good for others, for instance, care about climate. It's not about thinking only about yourself, where nowadays people are very focused on how can I achieve that, how can that, but climate is something different. It's something that you care, you show empathy to others. That's the way that you can move the needle and make impact and inspire others.
Definitely, 100% agree. And there is something that I'm a big follower of, and a message that there is only so much you can keep doing for yourself. There is only so much the money and the success can satisfy yourself, but the huge element of being human is to be of service. I mean, do everything for yourself and make your life amazing, but there's always something missing if you cannot contribute, whether it's contribute to people within your team or to contribute to the nature, to the climate change, to the bigger picture. So yeah, we're definitely on the same page on that. And now I'm gonna shoot over to Alina. What advice would you give to yourself at the beginning of your career?
Okay, so I think the best advice that I can give to myself is just to enjoy this journey. And we have a lot of failures in the way and a lot of processes that we will not succeed as we would like to. But all those processes and all those steps we will learn from it, and we will investigate it more, and we will take it still forward. So as Raanan said, don't be afraid. And I say, it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to be scary about the situation, and you don't know all the stuff, and it's okay not to be perfect and not to know all the stuff from the beginning. So be open, and just enjoy all this.
Definitely, and you both seem to enjoy. I think it's such a good energy must be there in the office. I'm not sure how often do you guys meet, but I can see the openness and the freedom to just be yourself and express what you want to say. I want to understand and share with our audience, what are we excited for in 2024 or the next 5 years? What is the mission? What's coming, and what Carbonade has in plans that we don't know yet?
Okay, so let's dive a little bit into Carbonade. No worries, no deep chemistry lessons for this podcast, but you may say that we were pretty much inspired by nature. We talked about it previously, but we look about the plant. and see their behaviors, how they suck in carbon, break it into pieces, use water and renewable energy that comes from the sun, and actually generate things that they grew from them. So basically, Carbonade imitate just from doing electrochemical reaction. We were able to break the ceiling of performance in regarding of efficiency in regarding of the energy needed in order to suck or to capture CO2 from the air, to break it into pieces and to rebuild it and to perform or to produce elements which are driven from carbon, such as fuel, such as polymers and other elements which are pretty much rely on carbon and hydrocarbons, which we produce. So the process basically is combining these two major needs. One is to fit the industry, specific the heavy industry and the heavy transportation, such as aviation and shipping, with hydrocarbons, and then again, not relying on fossil, taking this carbon from the air. So that's really a net zero approach. And what we actually achieved is a super efficient and stable reaction. So if you look through like 5 or 10 years ahead, I imagine the same planes which I flew as a young man, fly just from fuel, which is created from air and water. That's the dream.
Yeah, it is happening. We can see. You know, when you circle back to it, I used to be a flight attendant for 3 years. I think I also contributed to this, but I wasn't the pilot. I wasn't the decision making, but I was on board. So let me get on board with you now and try to make up for this.
Yeah,
well, guys,
sure.
thank you so much. It was super interesting interview, very insightful conversation. I'm very happy to introduce both of you, Alina and Raanan, and the business to our audience and to the world. I'm super excited to see what's happening, and I hope that journey of making up for you being the pilot and me a stewardess is not going to last too long. But thank you so much for your time. I've had a great experience, and I look forward to catching up sometime in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's make the world a better place.